Hey, B, what we're going to do is we're going to do my name's Jake Davis, first of all, from Lexbe, eDiscovery Solutions Director. And we're going to start. I've got a little bit of an echo. So let me see if I can fix that real quick. And do we still have it? Okay, I think we may have fixed it. All right, excellent. So what we'll do is I'm going to start off with a few polling questions, and then after we get those polling questions done, then we're going to jump right into a demo of the Lexbe eDiscovery platform. There will be options to send us some questions if you have any. So, like I said, without further ado, let's go ahead and start with those polling questions, and we'll get going. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all for that. Thank you for participating. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and jump into a very high-level overview of the Lexbe platform. And just to kind of introduce us, we have been around for about 13, 14 years, and we were purpose-built to be a cloud e-discovery provider. So everything that I'm going to show you, with the exception of just the email threading, which is an included service even on our Flex plan, are all things that can be done in-house without any professional services intervention, because we understand that a lot of times people are looking at Lexbe for the sole purpose of being able to pull these items back in, pull these tasks back in, so that you're not reliant on a third party to do it. And in this self-service vein, let's go ahead and start with our ingestion. Our ingestion is a simple drag and drop ingestion where we can take a file and drop it right in here. Once we have dropped a file in, let's go ahead and find a file real quick and drop that in. And let's just drop it in. What's going to happen is the platform is going to take that file. Let's say that it's a PST file or a zip file. It's going to first open up that container. It's going to pull out each one of the documents. It's going to extract the native text from that document. It's going to extract the metadata. It's going to create a PDF and then do an OCR, an optical character recognition scan of that document. It's going to take all of this information. It's going to put it over into what we call our Uber index. And we call it that because we use one index. That is going to greatly speed up your search as well as your ingestion time. Once everything is uploaded, we can do a deduplication, and you can do that either across the entire data set by doing what is referred to as a horizontal deduplication, or you can do a vertical deduplication by clicking per custodian, where the data is siloed per the custodian under which it was assigned, and then you could dedupe just within that particular silo once everything is uploaded. into the platform, we can take a look over at our browse section. So we can see we have 25,341 documents in this particular section. This is essentially the place where all the documents are kept, and you can click on one to open up the document viewer. In this document viewer, you have a range of options under which to view the document. You can take a look at it in its original rendering. In this case, it's an Excel spreadsheet. You can look at an HTML version of the document, a paginated PDF, and let's have that open. There we go, and a scrollable PDF as well. Under text, you're going to be able to see everything that was OCR'd out of the document. On the right-hand pane is where you'd be doing your coding. You can mark it as responsive, non-responsive, as needing further review. You can mark it as confidential. You can put a custom designation on the document, such as attorney's eyes only. You can mark it as attorney-client privilege or work product. And by checking either one of these, if this document is included in the production, then it's going to automatically generate a privilege log, which we'll take a look at whenever we actually make this production. It'll tell you who the document has been reviewed by, if you've already looked at it, or if others have. Any metadata that is pulled from the document is going to be here. You can create custom fields on the fly simply by clicking Add New Field, putting where the field's going to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the date for the custom field here, 6/23, and click OK. Now, what we've done is we've created a new field to where we can then highlight this document, or we can put this document as having that particular attribute, clicking Save, and it is saved for us. It's going, since we have auto advance, it's going to jump right to the next document. And we can also, from this screen, click on Doc, and this is where we can do our redactions as well as annotations. The redaction editor is quick and easy in that it is simply you just highlight over. Let's go ahead and delete this redaction so we can re-redact the document. I guess that's a word. If not, I just made one up. You can put it over, put the reason for the redaction. I always use redacted attorney-client privilege. Save, and now we are redacted. Once we apply it, we see that this redaction is applied, but let's say that you would need this document for, say, if you needed the document for an in-camera review or an internal review, then what you can do is just look at any of the other views, and a clean copy, as you can see, is kept in the Uber index at all times. However, only the redacted document is going to be produced. So we are going to make sure, the platform is going to make sure that if you have a document redacted, only that redacted document will be produced, so that we are going to avoid any inadvertent disclosure of confidential information that you have redacted. Under the Related tab, we're going to see that we can, just by the name of this document, we can tell that it is an attachment to this parent email, because we have the entire email family here. If we wanted to jump directly to that parent email, we can just click on that hyperlink and it's going to take us right to that parent email. So that allows us to jump quickly through the email family. Another part of going through emails and email review is going to be our email threading. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, this does require some professional services intervention, and that is because professional services is going to create this email thread group. I'm going to switch over to a different case. We don't charge for additional cases or additional users in our platform, so you can have as many cases as you need, and you can jump freely and easily through those extra cases or additional cases. If we look at the email threading documents that I have here, this is one where we've already had one of these email thread groups created, and there are 5 of these email thread groups. If we click on that email thread group, we're going to see the 5 that are created, and by clicking visualize, we are given a map of this email's life so that we can see that the original email we are missing. So in that case, we can say we were not provided with it either by our client or from the producing party if it's something we're reviewing. We do have the second level of the email. We are missing the third level. We also do have the fourth level. We can change the view of these. We can also highlight them and click compare so that we can take a look at the contrasting and comparison of these documents. We can see that side by side there are highlights as to where these are changed. We can also lay them on top of each other and see line by line where these changes happened. But that is, as I said, a tool that is included in any plan that we have that will give you a very good visualization of essentially what's going on with that particular email group. Back to our demo, we were in the browse section, and I had mentioned just kind of in passing the filters. And filtering, we can filter by any attribute of a document. We can filter by the extension, the document date, if it's been redacted or annotated, who has reviewed the document, if it's been marked as responsive, non-responsive, or any type of coding, even by any of the metadata that's included, or by our, as we see here, we could by our 623, by what we have, by our custom tags that we have applied on the fly. Now, once you have done a search, or excuse me, a filter, the last 5 filters are going to be kept here. By clicking edit, you can rename it, and you can either click here to share the filter that you've used across everyone in your firm, or if you're not interested in sharing that filter, you can just pin it by clicking here. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep the filter here, like where I have test underpinned, but it's just going to be for you and not for not shared across your firm. Browse is great if you're going to do if you're going through and filtering through documents, checking, coding. It's a great tool. If you're looking for something a little more targeted, and then what you're going to want is our search feature. And our search feature can handle both natural word search as well as Boolean searching. And the Boolean terms that we can use connector searches, we can use wildcard, or we can use the proximity searches. I have a proximity search here, and we use the Enron dataset for an example. And so if I did a lay within 3 words of Enron search, I see that I've got 101 results from that 25,341, I believe. So once we have these 101 documents, if we click on one of them, we get a document viewer that looks stunningly similar to the one that we had over on the browse screen. However, we have a new tab that we can look at, and that is the Hits tab. Under the Hits tab, we're going to see where our search terms appeared in the document, and we can jump directly to those. We are also able to do any coding, just like we could previously, any redactions, or we can see the email family, if there are duplicates, and if near duplicates have been run, then we have the near duplicates there as well. Much like the filtering, we can save searches, and we can either share them across the firm or just bin them for our use later. One of the more powerful tools that we have is the ability to overlay filters on top of searches. So I have a shared filter here of the .msg extension. So let's say that I wanted to find everything that is marked as an MSG extension with the search parameters of the lay within 3 and in run. I can just click on the shared filter, and now I have filtered it down to 53 from the 101. I can overlay as many filters on this as I need that are going to really drill down and find exactly what I'm looking for. So moving to the actual production, creating a production, we would go over to production job. And in this production job, we're going to start a new one, and it's going to automatically default to the date. We're going to go ahead and keep it at that just for these, just for our purposes here. We're going to click edit, and we're going to see that we can change the title on this sheet. We can put in a comment, and this is a completely internal comment. By clicking this box, you will allow the receiving party to be able to view the production in the Lexbe platform, whether they have a Lexbe subscription or not. Notice that I did say review the production in the platform. They can't review any non-redacted documents or anything like that. They're just going to be able to see what you have produced. You would create a password and then put an expiration date on that password. You can add in your Bates numbering. I always use ABC. You can put in your base space. Over here on the left, you can see previous production ranges. So if you're doing a rolling production, or if you want to do any type of consecutive numbering, you could look at your previous production range. Looks like this one ended at 75. So I can start that at 76 as my Bates base. You can go up to 10 digits on the Bates number. You can create that custom designation we discussed. I always use attorney's eyes only on it. And finally, we can look at what type of production we want to do. The standard production is what's going to be the default production. And that standard production is going to include Lexbe load, or it's going to include load files. It's going to include the PDFs of PDF production. It's going to include originals, and it's going to also include text files. We also have the standard plus TIFF, which is going to include those 4 folders, as well as a folder containing TIFF images, Bates stamped TIFF images of the documents that are produced. We have an opt-in to where you can include native emails. However, that is an affirmative opt-in to where you must select that, again, to prevent possible inadvertent disclosure. Once we have this set, we're going to add some documents to this production. So I always find it easiest to do this just for an example to the browse screen. Of course, it can be added from search as well. And it can these can be added as you're doing your production or after the production, again, when it is at your discretion, because this is again, self-service model. We're going to add these documents to a production, 623. And even though we selected 4 documents, we can see that it expanded to 8 documents. And that's because it's going to pull in all documents from the email families. Remember, one of the documents we looked at was an attachment to a document. It's going to go ahead and pull in that parent email as well. And once we have those added, we'll go and we'll validate the production. When we validate this production, we can see that we only have one to validate here. So let's go ahead and start the validation. It's going to first do a secondary check to make sure that all the email families are together. The next step is going to make sure that we don't have a redaction in process before this production is made. The next 3 steps under responsive privilege and work product are looking only for inconsistent codings. Now, while we do offer predictive coding, or TAR, in our subscription plan at no charge, this is not doing a predictive coding. It is simply looking for inconsistencies, such as a document being marked as responsive with a child attachment marked as non-responsive. Uh, if that is what you intended to do, you can click through, but it is going to ask if you meant to do that. Finally, it's going to ask if, or make sure that we haven't exceeded any preset page counts that we've, limits that we've set. And finally, it's going to say we're validated and that we're ready to run the production job. We're going to start this production job and it's going to run in the background. While that's running in the background, what I'm going to do is take this opportunity to go ahead and look at a privilege log from a previous production. Let's go ahead and take a look at a previous production that was done, and the privilege log is going to come up momentarily. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow us, once this does pull up, and I may have, whenever I cleaned out my documents for this, may have removed the privilege log that I have set. And if that is the case, then we'll just look at a previous production, or the one that do, because that should be done here in just a second. And what this privilege log is going to do is it's going to allow you to look at, it's going to show you the extension as to what type of document it is. It's going to show you the Bates information as to the document. It's also going to show you why it is privileged. And once we show that, then we can also export it to Excel. And if it is exported, and let's go ahead and pull up that Excel document. Let's open that, and we can see that that we have the extension here, the document date, the Bates information, the reason for the privilege, and since we're dealing with an email and a Word document, we can see they are different in that the email is going to have rudimentary information from the subject line and the to and from, whereas the Word document is going to have different information as far as like the author and who last modified it. Now, I did just get an email that our production job is finished. So let's go back to production job and the one that we have run today and open up that link. This is the link that if we send it directly to the receiving party, they would get, or that we could get, and then we could download and send to the receiving party. But it comes as a zip file. And in the zip file, we have production. And these are the folders that I mentioned in whenever we were creating it. Since we did do a TIFF production, we have the TIFF images, and those TIFF images are going to be here. Let's go ahead and open one. Let's open this TIFF document that we were looking at, and it's open here on my other screen. Let me pull that over. And we can see that we have a Bates stamped version with the custom designation on it, and it is redacted. As I said, we're only going to produce the redacted version of the document. We also have the Lexbe, or the load files here, the Lexbe load file there. Also the DAT and the OPT. Those are going to be your most requested files, most requested load files. We also offer the DII and the text TSV files. The originals are included. We did not include native emails, but we can tell that these are the natives instead of the PDF produced documents, since whenever we open one up, it's still going to be redacted. So even though it says originals, it's not going to produce unredacted originals. These are not Bates numbered because they are the originals and not the produced documents. Under the PDF, we do have the actual produced documents. Here's the same document that we looked at. We can tell that it is different because it does have the page number as well as the custom designator. However, it does look exactly like the original except for that base and custom designation. But that's going to be, we also do offer the text file there. And so that's going to be a very high level. And, I really want to say there are a lot of capabilities and options that I didn't even touch on, just because it's a whole lot better to do those in a open question answer type environment, uh, as one of our one-on-one demos would be, which can be acquired just by letting us know how we can, by reaching out to us and letting us set up a one-on-one demo for you. We do have, I will discuss some pricing information. We do have a difference in our pricing based on, let me go ahead and see if I can pull this slide up. We have two different types of, subscription, or excuse me, of two different types of uh, pricing. We have our Flex plan, which is going to be $15 per gigabyte per month. And that's going to include a free training to walk through with one of our professional services leads. And while I have talked about professional services as not being a certain number of hours required to use, our professional services staff are all eDiscovery certified former litigation paralegals. So not only do they academically understand the theories of the problems you're having, they have actually dealt with them and can help you solve them. They can be there to assist technically. They could even work as a de facto member of your firm on some types of uh, discovery, quality checks, etc., to make sure that you are completely satisfied. They are highly qualified and ready to assist. The training, as I said, is included in even our flex plan, month to month, no commitment. Also, email threading that I showed you, completely included. We'll be happy to set up those email thread groups for you for easy, just for easy navigation through those sometimes very complicated email threads. Under our subscription plans, we offer much better pricing. There is a 24-month commitment, but any plan that is 50 gigabytes or larger is going to be $5 per gigabyte per month. So if you had a 50 gigabyte plan, it would be $250 per month. What that's going to include, along with the items that are included in our flex plan, the training and the email threading, it's going to include free near-dupe grouping, where our professional services staff will take your data set and group together everything that is 50% or more similar in separate groups for ease of review. Also offer the predictive coding, or TAR, that we talked about. They're going to work with you to get the search string set up. Then they're going to work with you again to make sure that the AI is pulling the information that is needed. Finally, we also include ingestion. While our drag and drop ingestion is always free, if you have a large thumb drive, if you want to set up an FTP, if you want to send us even a Dropbox link for us to ingest it for you, we can do that. So it's completely included and could be a time-saving measure for you. We do offer transcriptions as well. We at free of charge of MP3 and MP4 files. We can also do translations at a very small additional charge. Just let us know how we can help. But what I'll do is kind of end here, and I definitely invite you to reach out Ask any questions in the chat box that you might have now while I'm kind of finishing up, and I'll make sure I go through those and see what questions I can answer for you. And while we're doing that, just to make sure that I have covered everything on our pricing, we don't. One of the things that I often get asked about is, okay, well, I have lots of users. I even have sometimes interns that come in. Uh, and that's one of the things that really sets Lexbe apart is that we don't have any kind of user fees. So you can have as many users as on your account as needed without having to worry about if you have the proper number of licenses or if that's going to greatly increase your cost. Another thing that uh, really sets us apart is our cloud presence, in that we don't even require a software client for your system to be able to access our platform. So all you need is a browser and an internet connection, which makes us pretty much completely agnostic as far as operating system. That's going to allow you to work on your data, whether you have a laptop, iPad. Some people even look at data on phones, so that as long as you have that browser and that connection, you'll be able to still be productive. Well, let me see if we have any questions. So I don't see any questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end now, and I'm going to thank y'all for attending our standing demo. And please feel free to reach out through our website or to any of us directly, and we will be happy to set up a demo, answer any questions that you have, or get you started to really see how Lexbe may be able to help you. Thank you very much.